John Donne's Metaphysical Conceits, Tradition, Innovation, and Thematic Depth. So here are my academic information. This is table of content. And today's my research question of this presentation is, how does John Donne use metaphysical conceit to transfer patriarchal wit in his poetry? Hypothesis would be Donne revokes patriarchal imagery into metaphysical conceit that combine wit with intellectual and spiritual depth, making them central to his poetic meaning. So let's begin. So here is our John Donne, 1572 to 1631. He was a famous metaphysical poet. His conceit, extended and surprising metaphors are both intellectual and emotional. His conceit bringing love, death, religion, and philosophy. Whereas Petrarchan poet relied on graceful hyperbole, which is basically connected to nature. Far from them, Donne reimagined conceit as an argumentative and logical and spiritual device. So first, let's understand what is the concept of conceit. So it is a basic and elaborate extended metaphor that creates surprising connections. In Petrarchan poetry, conceit often involves exaggeration of love and longing, whereas Donne inherits this rhetorical tradition, but reshape it with intellectual and rigor and dramatic power. His metaphysical conceit combined philosophy, science, theology with intense personal emotion and embodying both wit and depth. So he was far better than Petrarchan conceit writers. So Donne versus Petrarchan wit. We all know Petrarchan poets uses conceit, but John Donne reformed the conceit, the use of conceit. Donne does not discard Petrarchan convince fully, but revoke them. While Petrarchan poets use hyperbole to express love's intensity, Donne takes the exaggeration literary and developed it into a logical or spiritual argument. For example, where Petrarchan poets spoke of dying for love, it is a metaphorical symbol for dying for love. So Donne probes the idea of dying in very intellectual and serious meaning to questioning the boundaries between life, love, and death. So now I have selected some famous poems as analyzing example of conceit of John Donne. First, Death Be Not Proud. So it is one of the holy sonnet by John Donne. And here in this poem, death is mocked and diminished compared to sleep and emphasizing Christian triumph over mortality. Second is Sun Rising. So sun compared with a fully and busy old fool. So it intending on a lover's world. The flea, a trivial insect, become a metaphor for intimacy and union. And fourth and a very famous example is a valediction, forbidden mourning. Here in this poetry, Donne compared himself and his wife with two legs of a compass. So one is moving, that is Donne, and one is taking place is his wife. Then innovation through imagery. So how Donne creating a new innovation through a basic and very common imagery. So compass imagery, which recently I have talked, which is used in valediction. Then dynamic imagery of death. He portrays death as transformation rather than finality. And then defamiliarization of images. Sun is mocked in the sun rising and the flea is exalted. Like here in this picture, flea is very basic, common, ordinary thing. But Donne, by Donne, it gains metaphysical depth. So Donne's rebellion against tradition, Petrarchan tradition, his conceit dissolved conventional poetic images and transferred them into vehicle of intellectual exploration. My overall argument of this presentation is how Donne's usage of metaphysical conceit is it transfer patriarchal exaggeration into serious arguments. His conceit work through surprising juxtaposition of trivial and cosmic. Then radical innovation. he defamiliarized conventional images, making them central to philosophical inquiry. Thus, Donne's conceits are at once rooted in tradition and radical innovation. So, let's conclude this presentation by saying that John Donne's conceits are central to his poetic achievement by reshaping Petrarchan hyperbole into ordinary images and transforming traditional symbols through wit and paradox. Donne forged a distinctive poetic style. Donne's conceits exemplify both innovation and depth, ensuring his lasting influence on upcoming English poetry. So this was all about John Donne and his use of metaphysical conceit. Here are my references. Now, if you have any question, you can ask.
Rudra, my question is that which kind of strained images Donne has used in his poetry?
I would like to give your answer by using an example. In Donne's poetry of flea, he uses a very ordinary image of a flea by exemplify it with very extended metaphor, compares between the barrier between lover and Donne himself. Then, any question? Yeah. Okay.
How does John Donne use conceits to express complex emotion?
So, for example, in Donne's poetry, "Death Be Not Proud," he exemplify a concept of death, which is basically connected to Anglican faith. So he transferred his personal Anglican belief into a very strange and complex imagery and comparison of death with mortality. So this was all about my presentation. Thank you so much.